is but a song we sing, and fear's the way we die. You can make the mountains ring and make the angels cry. Though the bird is on the way, and you may not know why. Come on, people now, smile with your brother, everybody get together and try to love one another right now. I know that you can. Come on, people now, swallow your brother, everybody get together and try to love one another right now.
Good morning, CSL Santa Cruz. I'm happy to be with you today. We are broadcasting to you live from our sanctuary at 1818 Felt Street, and I'm glad that you can be with us. I know you're joining us on YouTube and on Facebook, so welcome to our sanctuary wherever you are. This morning we have a beautiful opening music piece. It's a little video that Lea and her friends put together early on in our shelter in place. You might recognize the tune. It's fun to see her virtual band. Enjoy.
Love is but a song we sing, and fear's the way we die. You can make the mountains ring and make the angels cry. Though the bird is on the way, and you may not know why. Come on, people now, smile with your brother, everybody get together and try to love one another right now. I know that you can.
try to love one another right now. I think that's an excellent suggestion. Thank you, Lea. I'm really excited to share some news with you. We will be back in the sanctuary next week on October 11th. We will be practicing safe distancing. You'll be asked to wear a mask the entire time you're here. We'll ask you to come in, much like going to Trader Joe's. You'll come in one at a time. There won't be any hugging, I'm so sorry. But we will be together. The only other thing I ask you to do is to make sure to check with the county. As of now, we're still in the red tier where we're allowed to have 25% of our sanctuary. And with the way that we have to social distance the chairs, we can fit 30 people in our sanctuary. So please either go to our website or our e-news to reserve a place so we can get an accurate count. If you can't do that, you can call the center. The number's on the screen. I hope that if you are comfortable that you'll join us next week as we come together again. Those of you who aren't able to leave your home for any reason, we will continue to offer our broadcast as well. So we'll have people in the sanctuary and we'll also be live streaming. So it's an exciting step forward. We'll cross our fingers that when Tuesday rolls around and the county looks at the numbers that we'll continue to be able to do this. So stay tuned, keep your ear to the ground, and hopefully I'll see you next Sunday in person in our sanctuary. As you know, every week I remind you that we are part of a global movement called Centers for Spiritual Living, and we share their vision, mission, and purpose. And we have our own centering statement, and we like to say that together. It's a way to get us joined together at heart and mind about a powerful idea. So if you'll join me, this is our centering statement. We are a spiritually progressive community that transforms lives and the world through a philosophy of possibility thinking and responding to life with love. So this morning we have a lovely talk planned for you. Sky Leona, who's been our practitioner, who's been able to come join us on the platform each week. I'm so grateful for Sky. She'll read our daily reading for you. She'll do a brief invocation, and then Lea will sing our sing-along song. So this will be the song you'll get to learn all month, and after that I'll come back and I'll talk to you about the universal heart.
Oh, sorry. You and I are the force of transformation in the world. We are the consciousness that will define the nature of reality we are moving into. That is a quote by Ram Dass. I'm happy to be here with you this morning, and so I'm welcoming you into this very moment. And if you wish, in the next minute, we will breathe together and center into that place where our consciousness is one with that which is all things. And here we go. So let us begin by knowing that we are indeed co-creators. We are consistent and constant magnets that brings to us the reality that we focus on. So in this next space of time, as we join together to create this sacred space, let us now agree that the more of us exist right now, and that when we turn to the potential and the possibility of life here on this earth, that there is more than we can even imagine, but we are willing in this moment to turn to it and allow it, even the unknown. And so I'm claiming here today that we, each and every one of us, have the potential of unconditional love, that each and every one of us has the condition of boundless joy resident in us right now, and that each and every one of us owns the potential of infinite wisdom available to us anytime we turn to it. I count on this. I believe in this. I trust in this. This is my faith, that I am the focal point for good. I take that mantle on and I say yes to it. So now, right now, as we create this sacred space together, let's own it. Let's allow ourselves to be that beacon of loving kindness here today. I'm grateful for knowing this truth. I'm letting these words rest, knowing that they are already being responded to by that infinite, absolute existence. And so it is. Thanks, everybody.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time to lead ourselves into the will. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle around to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
Wow. Wow. That was beautiful. That was really beautiful. I'm a little Thank you, Lea. Thank you for opening our hearts this morning. My name is Reverend Alice Reid, and I'm here at Centers for Spiritual Living in Santa Cruz, and I'm happy to be broadcasting to you live from our sanctuary, where I hope you'll be able to join us, at least 30 of you, who are comfortable with social distancing and wearing masks. If you are, you're welcome to join us next Sunday. We ask you to get here no later than 10:15, and we ask you to make a reservation, so I hope you can join us for that. So this month's theme is entitled Cosmic Connections. Sounds a little fluffy, doesn't it, given what's going on in the world? You know, when I looked at this thing of cosmic connections, I had to, I talked about it with the ecclesiastical team, and we began to look at it a little more closely. And I really believe that for me, and as we're going to carry this theme out throughout the month, when we talk about cosmic connections, we're not really talking about anything fluffy. We're actually talking about something really deep and powerful. We're talking about how we are inextricably connected. We're talking about how you and I are indeed one, and how we're all working with this collective consciousness that is forever reminding us of our connection through the reflection that we do back and forth with each other. And I think it's important for us to know that these connections are happening daily, if not moment by moment. And that each time that I am reflecting, each time that I'm connecting, each time that I am making a connection with someone, that I am making a deposit into that connective tissue, if you will, of our consciousness and of humanity. You may have heard me say this more than once: there is no private good. And if there is no private good, then that means there's no private suffering either. That means that when someone suffers, at some level, we're all suffering. And that when we choose love, that at some level, we are all benefiting. Now, I know that many of you over the last few years, especially in the environment that we have been in, have taken up the cause. You've taken up the cause of, perhaps it's something in the environment. Maybe the cause that you've taken up is political. Maybe the cause that you've taken up is around anti-racism or caring for the homeless or the hungry. So when we look at this idea of cosmic consciousness, we look at activism as that place that we can inhabit that really calls upon the universal heart. That universal place where we begin to care for one another, where we begin to see God everywhere we look. You know, we believe and teach about the properties of the law of cause and effect. And I don't know about you, but boy, oh boy, are we swimming in effects these days. The hits keep coming, don't they? There's just always some new craziness that we have to deal with. This last week, we had the debacle of the first presidential primary. The first presidential debate. We had the president's diagnosis with COVID. And then, here as a community, we had this little hiccup with our bank and the loan that's going to help fund our new roof. And so I when we woke up on Friday morning and I heard the news that the president had been diagnosed with COVID, I had some mixed feelings. David turned to me and he said, "Oh my God, it's so 2020." I think that's going to be our phrase going forward, right? It's so 2020. I had wondered if this diagnosis was going to be used as a tactic in the election. And I had wondered a few other things that I'm too ashamed to admit publicly. And someone reminded me of the Buddhist practice of the 3 gates. Before speaking, pause and ask yourself, is it true? Is it necessary? And is it kind? Is it true? Is it necessary? And is it kind? And if it isn't, then it's not something that I need to bring forward. And so, centered again in love, I reminded myself that while I don't care for the behavior of our president, and while I find some of the choices that he makes completely unacceptable, I don't wish him harm. So I turn to that age-old loving kindness prayer. And I hope you'll join me right now in this simple little prayer. Mr. President, may you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be loved. And may you know peace. I read this morning that there was a prayer vigil outside of Walter Reed Hospital for the president, and I felt heartened by that because I know the power of prayer. And I know the power of moving our minds to this place of deep peace and understanding, of moving ourselves to this place beyond the knee-jerk reactions, beyond the places of disdain, beyond those places where we might want to complain or, God forbid, hate. And as I was thinking this morning about my remarks to you, it occurred to me that if hate is the great divider, then love is the great multiplier. And this love that I'm talking about, that's a great multiplier, it isn't a love that just accepts whatever's before us. It isn't a love that says it's okay to, be a child abuser. It's okay to do things that hurt other people. No, I'm not talking about that kind of love. I'm talking about a love that up-levels us so that when we actually do take action, when we actually are out in the world, when we are treating each other in certain ways, that love up-levels us so that we can smile on our brother and love each other. Those words in that song, they're not a trite, words. They're meaningful, that we can come to this place of finding love with one another. This is, I was saying before the service, I feel like, Spirit is my gym instructor, and it's just up-leveled the weights I'm working on spiritually. It's like, okay, which time to use the really heavy barbells now for some heavy lifting? Does anybody else feel this way? So one of my favorite quotes is by Marion Woodman, and she says, "Continuing to do pioneering sacred work in a world as crazy and painful as ours, without constantly grounding yourself in sacred practice, would be a little like running into a forest fire with only a paper tutu on." And, I came across that quote, I guess it was maybe a year or two ago, but boy, is it ever relevant now. Like, there's a lot going on, and we need to stay centered and grounded. We need that sacred practice. It's really important for us to stay centered so that we can move forward in a way that is powerful and potent and loving. And that's what I'm here to remind you to do. And I'm going to invite you to do a process with me this morning. And I want to warn you that it is a very deep process. It's called Ton Glen. And if you're not familiar with Ton Glen, it is really the work of the Bodhisattva within each one of us. And so I'm going to invite you to open up to your Bodhisattva, to that place in you, that Christ consciousness that knows how to love and knows how to do it in a powerful way. And so if you're willing, this practice is really a beautiful Buddhist practice of giving and receiving compassion. And I'm going to invite you to simply close your eyes or lower your gaze, sitting quietly, calming your mind, and centering yourself. And opening your heart so that you can awaken that compassion that lives within you. Imagine your heart is an infinite source of light, peace, compassion, and joy. You may also choose to invoke the presence of all deities and gurus, Buddhas and bodhisattvas, that Christ consciousness that lives within you, and any other enlightened being that is meaningful to you, so that their inspiration and blessing and compassion may be born in your heart. In this way, you are resting in the bodhicitta, the enlightened nature of mind and the awakened heart. What we know is that the bodhicitta is an inexhaustible source of purity, generosity, and compassion and wisdom. So sit for a few moments, breathing in and breathing out, and imagine that the radiance at the center of your heart purifies all negative karmic imprints and impulses. Now imagine in front of you, as clearly as possible, in your mind's eye, that someone you care about who is suffering is right before you. It can be your partner, perhaps your children, perhaps a beloved pet, or a family member, or a dear friend. And open yourself to this person's suffering. Imagine him or her sitting so close that your knees are touching each other. And imagine that beneath the outward form of this person, there is deep pain. And that this pain is challenging this person over and over again. And allow yourself to feel fully connected with this person, aware of their difficulties, their pain, and their distress, remembering that you are grounded. You are grounded in the bodhicitta. You are grounded in your awakened heart. And imagine that all of their suffering comes out and gathers itself into a mass of hot, black, grimy smoke before you. Now visualize breathing in this mass of black smoke, seeing it dissolve into the very core of your heart center that has already been purified. The infinite radiant bliss, wisdom in your heart completely dissolves all traces of suffering, negative karma, fear, and selfishness, and purifies all of it as you inhale this suffering. Now invoke your enlightened heart, that bodhicitta place within you, and as you breathe out, imagine you are sending out the radiance of loving kindness, compassion, peace, happiness, and well-being to this person. See this brilliant radiance purifying all of their negative karma. Send out all feelings that encourage healing, relaxation, and openness. And do this with complete sincerity, remembering that as we do this, not only are we purifying their suffering, but we are also purifying our own mind and our own hearts, because the other person is actually been invited into your heart and into your mind. And know with a firm inner conviction that this person has been freed of suffering and negative karma and is filled with peace, happiness, and well-being. And as you continue this giving and receiving with each breath, again connect with the presence of all deities, gurus, that Christ consciousness, the Buddhas, enlightened beings, and the bodhisattvas within you. Imagine in front of you now, as clearly as possible, someone or some image of suffering that we have witnessed in our nation this week. It may be somebody that it's easy for you to love, and it may be somebody who's harder for you to love. But you've witnessed their suffering, and it's obvious to you. Allow that person to come to mind. And hold that person or that image in your mind's eye, and allow yourself in your mind's eye to get so close that you feel their presence. Imagining that they're sitting right in front of you, that their knees are almost touching yours. And imagine that beneath the outward form of this person or this image, there is a deep pain body that is hurting this person day and night. And allow yourself to feel fully connected with the difficulties, the pain, and the distress. Then as you feel your heart opening in compassion towards this person, imagine that all the pain and suffering comes out and gathers into a mass of hot, black, grimy smoke before us. Now visualize breathing in this mass of black smoke, seeing it dissolve into the very core of your heart center that has been prepared for this, that has been purified for this, so that you may be part of their healing. Knowing that the infinite, radiant bliss, wisdom in your heart completely evaporates all traces of suffering, negative karma, fear, and selfishness, and purifies all inhaled suffering. Invoke your inner heart, that enlightened place within you, the bodhicitta. And as you breathe out, imagine you are sending the radiance of loving kindness, compassion, peace, happiness, and well-being to this person or this image. See this brilliant radiance purifying all negative karma, and send out feelings that encourage healing, relaxation, and openness. Do this with sincerity, and remember again that every time we do this, every time we open our hearts with compassion, that by doing this we're purifying our own mind and our own hearts, because there is no private good. We are one, and there is no place where we are separate from each other. And as you continue this giving and receiving with each breath, know with a firm inner conviction that this person has been freed of suffering and negative karma and is filled with peace, happiness, and well-being. That anyone willing to receive this healing is now uplifted. And taking a deep breath, feel the lightness in your heart as you have fully invoked your compassionate self, as you have allowed yourself to be used as a filter, if you will, a filter of compassion and love in a time when there is great suffering around us. And know that that power and that presence, that inner light that lives within you, has the power to change the world. And so, I invite you once again to take a deep breath and open your eyes when you're ready. Maybe place a hand on your heart in gratitude. Gratitude for your willingness to be the place where healing happens. Gratitude for that power and that presence that moves in, as, and through your body. That you too are healed by this process. That any suffering that you may be experiencing has also been lifted by your willingness to lift the suffering of others. Ton Glen is not a a spiritual practice to be taken lightly. We really are invoking a powerful movement of compassion. And as I look around the world today, I can't think of anything we need more than love and compassion for each other. We are in the midst of great transformation. And that transformation doesn't happen when we are out in the world of effects. It happens at the level of cause. And at the level of cause, we need to invoke love. We need to invoke an open heart and a powerful mind so that we may be available to some greater good that wants to be known through all that we are experiencing in this 2020 time. So I want to thank you for being brave and courageous enough to do that practice with me. I want you to consider to do that practice often, to be used as a beautiful love filter as we move through these difficult times, and to allow yourself to not only be compassionate towards others, but to be compassionate towards yourself. So let's pray. I know that each one who has practiced the sacred movement of heart and mind through compassion, this thing we call Tonglen, that each one is lifted up, that there is a lightness among them, that there is a burden shared. For a burden shared is halved. And I know that as a spiritual community, we continue to hold each other in love and light, that we allow ourselves to be continually used by this love and this power and this presence that wants to experience life in the world by means of us. And so that I know that our nation has been lifted by this practice, as we individually have been lifted as well. And I give great thanks, knowing that as we move through our week, that we continue to draw upon this deep compassion, knowing that it is that tool, that spiritual tool, that practice that reminds us who we are and who we've come to be. I give great thanks for the power of this prayer. I give great thanks for the power of our practices. I give great thanks for the power of our community and our willingness to look up with our spiritual eyes and to continue to take the high road towards a world that works for everyone. I bless each one within the sound of my voice, and I simply release this with gratitude and a surrendered heart, knowing it is done, and so it is.
Just as you are without changing a thing, just as you are, I accept you. I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are. Just as you are without changing a thing, just as you are, I accept you. I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are. Just as you are without changing a thing, just as you are, just as you are, I accept. Just as you are, I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are. Just as you are without changing a thing, just as you are, just as you are, I accept. Just as you are, I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in, just as you are, just as you are. Just as you are without changing a thing, Just as you are, I accept. Just as you are, I see you, I hear you, I welcome you in. Just as you are, just as you are. It's not far to another heart. It's not far to another heart. You just reach out from where you are. It's not far. It's not far.
It is indeed not far to another heart. Thank you, Lea. Our weekly affirmation is before you. I hope that this is something that will continue to carry you forward in this brave work that we do as spiritual light workers. And so know with me that I am balanced and poised, grounded in a love that guides my every choice. I want to thank you for your financial support of our center. We're so grateful for each and every gift that you either mail through one of our other ways to support us. You can either mail in your contribution, you can use text to give, you can use our app, or you can use our website. All of those ways each of you have used, and it's wonderful how creative we have become in supporting this beautiful work and this beautiful community. I want to thank our tech team and for the folks that have been in the sanctuary helping us to iron out some of the little idiosyncrasies of trying to do a live stream with a live audience. I really am grateful for you, tech team. I could not have done this without you. And our community thanks you as well. If you have enjoyed this broadcast, if there is something that was meaningful for you, please share it with your friends or family. Go ahead and send the Facebook link or the YouTube link to someone you think who might benefit from what we talk about on Sunday mornings. And if you are watching on YouTube, I ask you to please subscribe, because we get some extra goodies from YouTube when you do subscribe, the more subscribers we have. So thank you so much for all the different ways that you support us. And I'm grateful for the cycle of giving and receiving so that we can continue to support you. Our Raise the Roof campaign is coming to a close. If you've been thinking about buying a shingle, and now's the time to do it. I know that we've sent some envelopes out to our generous donors at home. Perhaps you've seen my Facebook fundraising campaign. Please, now's the time to do it. So please help us as we finish this beautiful campaign. And I want to thank all those who have contributed, because it's because of you that we've been able to continue to be good stewards of our building. So thank you so much. Our Vote the Values workshop, we did our first one on Saturday morning. It was really wonderful. I got a lot out of it, and I think the other people who were with us did as well. We'll be doing one more on Tuesday evening. It was originally on Wednesday, and then we got the date for the vice presidential candidate debate, and so we didn't want to be in conflict with that. So hopefully you can join us on Tuesday at 6:30. That's this Tuesday. You will need to register for the unique Zoom number. It's not our normal number, so you'll need to register in advance so that you can get the login information. And I'll also want to send you some materials as well. So please register for Vote Your Values. And if you're up at 8 a.m. and you would like a spiritual uplift, join me for the Power of 8 a.m. It's an opportunity for us to come together to focus our minds and our hearts around the big idea around infusing our political landscape with love. We come together. It's a tight 15 minutes. We do some inspiration, we do some centering practice, we do a blessing. You're in and out in 15 minutes. A couple of us hang out for another couple of minutes, but you can clock out at 15. I hope you'll join us. It's been really powerful. It's Monday through Friday. We don't do it on the weekends, and the number is on the screen and on our website. And then, of course, you can connect with me after this broadcast on Zoom at our 831-000-1818 number. We'll be on Zoom from 11:30 to 12, and it's always wonderful for those who can't be with us here in the sanctuary to see you at home in our Zoom rooms. Well, I think that's it for this morning. I'm very excited about our opportunity that's coming up. Okay, everybody, do it with me. Cross your fingers. And then after you do the little superstition of crossing your fingers, pray and treat that we continue to stay in this red tier so that we can be together in the sanctuary next Sunday. I hope you'll be here with us. Please join us by 10:15, and please make a reservation. And throughout the week, if you'd like to check in, we have our wonderful Kaylee Dugan who does the Power to Connect. Sorry, that's the Project to Connect. That's at a different number that's on your screen. You can also find that information on our website. What I want to say to you as we close our time together is that I'm really glad you're here. And I'm really grateful that you joined me this morning and you joined our community and that we could be together so that many hands can carry us through as we walk out these interesting times. I know that you're going to have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you again this next Sunday at 10:30.
Love is but a song we sing, and fear's the way we die. Now you can make the mountains ring and make the angels cry. Though the bird is on the wing, and you may not know why. Come on, people now, smile with your brother, everybody get together and try to love one another right now. I know that you can.